You ever wonder what's a good deal? Like, how do you find a good deal? How do you know this property, that property is a good wholesale real estate deal? Well, today we're going to talk about how to identify a good deal and how to find a good deal. And I'm here once again, with my guy Cordero. How you feeling today, man?
Tired, tired. But Grant Cardone got this one line. I forget what book it is, but he said, "Man, I'd rather feel tired and secure than well rested and broke," or something. He said something. To that
Yeah, trust me, I can hear that right now because I've
Yeah.
listened to like the 10X rule
It was. I think it was the
so
mentor,
many
10X
times at this
mentor.
point. Yeah, dude, I've listened to 10X rule so many times at this point. Shout out to Ali, man. Always coming through, man. Always coming through. But
Yeah.
but yeah, it's something like that. Grant be wilding, dude. But
Yeah.
but shoot, man, yeah, man. Want to talk about like how do you identify a good wholesale deal? You know what I'm saying? It's like how do you identify one, then how do you find it? So let's go with identify first. Like, can you just look at a house and know it's a good wholesale deal?
I think that's the general idea, and I would say sometimes, to people's point, I think is Brent Daniels. He says ugly houses equal big checks, right? But I mean, because what it does, it indicates what that person might be going through. My thing is, I think it's more aptly put to say motivated sellers, big checks, right?
Ugly situations.
Ugly situation. And so, but when you see an ugly house, that kind of denotes or indicates
It
that that
might be
person
an
has
ugly
something going
situation.
on. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah,
So
yeah,
that's why it's just like, well, that's why they say go driving for dollars and look for distressed properties, because a distressed property can be a sign. It could be a signal that, hey, I got something going on. Just like if you see a person walking down the street, they look disheveled, and oftentimes they say the outward appearance is a reflection of what's going on the inside. Or somebody's bedroom is messy or something like that. It's just like they might got a lot of stress or something going on in their mind. And ultimately, it indicates a problem that you can solve because they probably got something like they're distressed. But I've wholesaled, and you can probably attest to this too, Byron. I've wholesaled deals that look a-okay. The houses were almost perfect. They didn't have
nothing.
much wrong with them. And if you was driving down the street, you would have drove clean past this one. You never would have caught it.
Wrong with it.
But the seller had a situation in their personal life that they had a problem that we were able to solve, and they were perfectly fine with that trade-off. Dog, I know the house is, it don't need a lot of work, but if you can get me speed and convenience, or if you could, take care of my tenants for a little bit before we close or after we close, or if you could do this or that or this or that, then I'd be more than happy to sell it to you at a discount. So no, yes and no. What do you think, man? Would you say it
Dude,
just
I'm gonna show you the house that gave me the biggest check, and it's this one right here. It looked the same way on the outside when I got it. So you looking for
just like
ugly houses, you wouldn't have picked this one, but this gave me the biggest check I ever got. Right, the biggest check. You see when that sold, you see it sold
that?
date, and you see how much it sold for,
Yeah. And then two, on the flip
and
side,
then
man.
and then look at here,
Mm, what? How you how you feel about that, dog?
dude. It's stupid, man. It's
That's
stupid.
crazy. That is
Stupid.
buck wild.
Yeah.
And then on the flip side of this is, it almost would say, if you're going just based on the condition of the property, that almost would imply that every person with an ugly house is a motivated seller, and they're just ready to sell you their property. And because their property needs work, they're going to be reasonable, and they're going to talk to you and not put up much of a fight. That's not true. There are people who got distressed properties and they are just not motivated to sell. They just like, that's just what it is. This is how I'm living. I like the house. The roof hanging off the side, the foundation cracked, and there's trash all through it. I feel at home. I'm comfortable. I don't want to sell this house. I still want $1 million for it. And so ultimately, the condition, how the property looks, is not the end all. It is an indicator. It kind of indicates what's going on, but it is not the end all for is this property going to be a good wholesale deal. Now,
Yeah, for sure.
what are some things that, let me ask you this. Okay, because I like that question. Like, does the condition of the property, is there a particular list? Is there a particular situation? Like if you call,
I think it is a particular situation.
but I think this is one we we run into. But there are many, because I think the way we notice this pattern, there might be another situation that people be like, man, I can't get out of the probate. Every property I get just seems to be probate, or every property I get is foreclosure or pre-foreclosure. You know, is there a certain situation that almost this could probably be? It's probably points, not that it is going to be a good deal, but it probably points or indicates that it could be a good deal.
I would say like I would say the daggum divorce. It's like, dude, if you can get your hands on a divorce list, man, I'm telling you, man. I think you got something. Even a married list. If you could just target the people who's married, because they're gonna get that divorce for sure. A lot of them are. A lot of them.
And the Lord hates putting away.
Yeah.
But these folks don't know nothing. I'm talking about, dude, probably, I want to say 80, anywhere. And these ain't, this is just how, these ain't real numbers. But I want to say if you gave me the numbers, I wouldn't be surprised if it was anywhere from 75 to 90% of the deals that we have done or are working on right now currently are divorced couples.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And so right now, I guess essentially before less than how to identify a good deal. These are some good indicators. How do you identify prospects who could lead to good deals? I don't think that there's any one end all be all list. Because if we said, hey, as much as we see divorce, we would never do this. But as much as we see divorce, if we were just like, we ain't going to touch no divorce list. We're only going to talk to foreclosure, and we're just going to spend the next year targeting foreclosure, we would still eat. We still eat. We still have a good time. You know what I mean? We still.
What's up, man? He said, on to something. Speak, speak, bro. I think he's going to speak, bro.
I think he might have said bro, or he might have been about to say speaking from experience. Yeah.
Hey, the house got to go, dude. Like the house got to go.
I was told focus on the distressed seller, not so much the property.
Yeah,
I think that's solid right there.
But hey, that brings a good point. That's why you have to talk to people. It's like you can look at the house and see all day long. The house might look pretty. You know what I'm saying? They may have somebody who come by and cutting the grass and keeping the outside up. But you got to talk to people. Like I called my buddy today, man. Just called him up like, hey, man, you got something? Just checking in on him. And he like, yeah, man, I got this guy. I was talking to him. He was just telling me he about to lose his property. And I'm like, whoop, here we go. I was just talking to people. You know?
He wasn't looking at the property.
Yeah, dude, I wouldn't even focus on the property. You know what I'm saying? It's like when you talking to anybody, you probably need to mention property or real estate. You know what I'm saying? If somebody talking to me and they just keep talking to me, like I'm finna find a way to tell them I do real estate. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm gonna find a way to tell them I'm looking for houses. I do real estate. I buy and I sell. I'm gonna tell them that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna let the conversation go by, me speak to you and let the whole conversation end without me telling you that. Like a lot of people, they never even know you're doing real estate. Like, how am I supposed to know you doing real estate? I could be Rolex, walk around with a hat, let them know I buy houses or some shirt, every day. But it's like, I'm going to talk to you about it. You know what I'm saying?
Don't miss that. Do not miss that. Because look, it hurt my heart when I went to go talk to my auntie. Hey, Aunt Linda, I want to shout out my auntie. She said, what you do? when I was like, you know what, y'all, you don't know what I do. And I was like, that is so crazy for me to dedicate all my time and energy and effort. And they don't even realize what I do. I think they know now. I'm in they know now. But it was at a point in my career, I was like, But one of my first mentors, she told me something. It's called Project 100. And Project 100 is where you take 100 people that you know. This ain't no marketing. This is not pulling a list. This is not cold calling or texting or nothing. This is just people that you know. People that you went to school with, hit up every now and again. You might go bowling, your cousins, your family. We all got family. We might not like them, but you all got family. Tell all of them, all you got to do is tell those people, hey, I'm looking for a property to buy. That alone right there is powerful, right?
Yeah.
Never neglect and we're getting a little bit off topic here, but it's a point that we need to mention. Never neglect your immediate sphere of influence. Just the people that you know in outside of business.
This ain't off topic, man. This is how you find a deal. You
know? Yeah.
You know?
You're right. Because ultimately, at the end of the day,
it's TTP, dude.
TTP is it, and this is the one thing for this business is TTP, but I'm convinced that that's the one thing for all business.
Oh yeah.
The one thing for all business, if you boil it down to one thing, is generating business, which is lead generating. For us, it's
generating contacts. Contacts equals contracts. How many people can you talk to? How many people can you talk to? It's just that simple. How many people can you get in contact with? How many people can you get in contact with? Can you get it? It doesn't matter if you text them, call them, mail them, put them on a billboard, let them see you. Like Mark Spain may have not dialed as many people as Cordero. He put his face up on the billboard.
That's crazy.
You know what I'm saying? It's like you have to contact. You have to make contact with people, man. Exactly. It's a contact sport.
It's a contact sport, dude. This is a contact sport. How to identify a good deal? You won't do it until you contact the person.
Contact people, man.
And that's why I'm saying, so reach out to your sphere of influence. That's what I'm saying. That's something you can do that ain't gonna cost you a dime. Just text all of everybody in your contacts. If you got more than 100, any amount of people you got in your contacts, hey, I'm looking for the property. Just do it right now. You get off this, text everybody in your contacts, with exception of your ex. Don't text her. Text your ex-wife.
Hey, she might know somebody.
She might be trying to sell the house that you bought her. She's trying to sell the house that you bought her, but you know what I mean? That's what we keep running into. But text everybody. Hey,
and one thing is, go ahead, Cordero. My bad, man.
Now I was gonna say, just text everybody. I'm looking to buy a property, and then follow up with them. Touch them. Hey, how you doing? But be personable. How you doing? And then, I'm still
working 8 days straight. So what's going on, Anita?
Shout out to Anita, man. What's up, guys? Been catching these replays. Just came off working 8. Anita. Anita, you need to be doing some of this wholesaling, man. Tell the people at your job looking to buy a property, or you work with a group of investors who are buying properties. So just put it out there like that. Hey, I work with a group of investors outside. I do it, on the part-time on my side, and so they've been buying properties like crazy, and they can get people offers, cash offers, et cetera, et cetera. That's all you got to do. And you can use your job. If you're going to be there 8 hours,
man,
there might be this is your co-workers, your employees, but then also maybe some customers. If you interact with customers, hey, you got a property? Okay, well, dude, I'm looking to buy, I work with a group of investors who are buying. I do this is my job, but then outside of that, I work with them or team of investors. So if you want me to get you an offer, just let me know, whatever. 8 hours a day doing that.
Man.
You're instigating the opportunity.
You're gonna find a deal.
You're instigating the opportunity. Then as soon as somebody call us, let us know what's going on, and we'll help you get through step by step out of the deal. But
bam, we got it.
8 hours.
That's so true, man. Like, you underestimate how many people you run into at your job. You know what I'm saying? It's like, dude, I missed my job only because I was able to get in contact with so many people. It's like now I don't have the ability to contact as many people as I used to be able to contact. You know what I'm saying? It's like the ability to talk to that many people, it's like, man, it's like
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to pay to get back into school. Hey, can I come just talk to your people?
Nah,
It's
dude.
like,
Nah, dude.
it's like, hey, let me come in and talk to all the teachers. It's
Now you
like,
need to say, hey, listen, I'm gonna be a substitute. I just want to be a
hey,
substitute.
for real, like, dude, I literally, like, I was talking to this guy I used to work with. He was like, man, you're gonna have to be a substitute to keep getting these deals that's at the school. It's like, because I was doing deals at the school, and he was like, man, you got to be a substitute. It's like, man, I'm gonna have to be a substitute and wear a shirt. I buy houses around this bug. Like,
Yeah, because
dude,
everybody loved that one substitute that just didn't really care about what that you don't really care about this. You just here for, I'm just chilling. We had one substitute that swore she was a millionaire, and I was just like, what? Ain't no way you a substitute. She probably was. Now what I know now from hindsight being an adult, she probably absolutely was a millionaire. Just everything, but don't neglect that. Ryan Serham, another very great real estate agent. He's in New York. And you know what they say? You can make it there, you can make it anywhere. But what he did, how he got his start back in 2008, he got his start in the business by buying gym memberships as all over New York, in Manhattan, in the different boroughs. I got a gym membership here, gym membership here. He would just go work out at the different gyms this day out of the week, this day out of the week, this out of the week, and just talk to people. He built it. His entire foundation was built on that. That was his entire market. I'm gonna go to the gym anyway. I'm gonna work out. Might as well go there and work out over here. Hey, what I'm saying? You got a property? Well, I buy houses. You working out with a muscle shirt that say we buy houses.
exactly.
Two guns on it. We buy houses for sure. Strong arm your house. Strong arm your house off you.
Dude,
these are how to find good deals. How to identify a good deal. Okay. Onto another topic that I think is important. I want to mention when it comes to identifying a good deal. We hit this all the time, but I'm going to reiterate it. Finding the buyers first is ultimately important to determining what's a good deal, because you may be like, man, I got it. You might have a motivated seller who's in a area where nobody's buying, and it's very possible. Like no real cash buyers who can offer you speed and convenience, all cash or whatever. They're just not buying, or maybe you just don't know them. And so before you even get to negotiate or talk with that seller and do some discovery calls to explore what their situation is, if you don't have a buyer that is buying 3.2s in this zip code, 1,100 square feet, then how do you know that that's a deal? Unless you know people are buying it. I tell sellers sometimes, a property is worth what someone will pay for it. A property is worth what a buyer will pay for it. So ultimately, the buyers define, in any given market, the buyers define what makes something valuable and how valuable it's going to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's why you got to get in touch with the buyers. But there are things like that you can look at and be like, yeah, that's a good deal. Buyers make identifying a good deal way easier. That's why I always say for beginners to find the buyers first, because your ability to identify a good deal is going to be way easier if you find the buyers first. If you don't find the buyers first, that's why like these pros, like these people, these gurus and stuff like that, like they've gotten to a point where they don't necessarily have to have, they can identify a good deal because they have the experience and they know. But when you don't have the experience and you don't know, it's like having a buyer gives you guidelines on, hey, okay, this is what I look for, this is what I look for, this is what they can tell you what's a good deal. You can look at their patterns. Okay, you bought it for this and you sold it for that. Okay, then I know what a good deal is. You see what I'm saying? I know if I can get you to, to this purchase price, you want to sell it for this much, I can tell you what a good deal is. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So I would say for beginners, finding a cash buyer makes identifying a good deal easier, but you can look at the property and be able to know it's probably a good deal. You see what I'm saying? And I say probably because there's certain things about properties that can turn a good deal into a bad deal. You see what I'm saying? It's
Yeah,
like,
before
hey,
you mention those indicators that like can almost make it like obviously it's a good deal. I want to say it's like you got two options. You can have experience and use your experience into your advantage to identify a deal. But we're trying to give you things. If you're new and you're trying to figure it out, you don't have your experience. So you're by finding the buyers. You're also tapping into their experience. Is what we're saying.
yeah.
You get to like you get to plug in, like you can plug your charger into their socket of experience. Like, so you utilize their experience to your advantage without having to, and it eliminates the guesswork. So you can definitely find a deal and then go post it on blast it on Facebook and try to find buyers. But how long is that going to take you? It took me 9 months, took Keithon 9 months. It took Byron, I don't know how long it's, what I'm saying, to find. It shortens that and allows you to be more narrowly focused when you get to see what the buyers are looking for and you get to glean from their experience. So that's why we always say that. But you were saying there are some things that it's just like, yeah, but obviously this is a deal. Like this is one of those home run out of the park, obvious deals that you could be like, yeah, now we can blast this thing out. Kind of like that. One of the first deals you had.
Well, the first one I showed you, the one I showed today, it's like, dude, this is obviously a good deal.
But how the conversation went though, like when you were talking with,
it was obviously a good deal. Like I went straight to the script. It's like, you got property interest in selling. I may even have the actual conversation, but he just straight up said I want 125.
Yeah, but what about that 125 number made you say, oh goodness? You know what I mean? Like what about
it? I just looked at Zillow. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And that's the point that I want to point out.
At the time was like 260 something.
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying? So you say 125, I'm like, this can't be real, man.
It's like, if you want to talk about
what I really knew, but to be honest with you, Cordero, like, the way I roll, how I knew it was a good deal, because I knew the buyers. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Not only did I know it was a good deal, I knew about how much I was about to make off this deal. You see what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? It's like I knew this, like, dude, this is $100,000 deal. You know what I'm saying? Like, I knew that because I knew the buyers. But even if I didn't know the buyers, I could look at that property and say, yeah, but you ain't gonna run across that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, but now, you know what I thought that was? I'm thinking about that first deal where you texted a guy and he was just like, I don't want to sell my property, but I do got a property for you that's a deal. And then you was just like, you didn't know anything other than to go as low. And you was just like, I think it was the same buy price, like 125, and you was just like, oh goodness. Again, when you didn't have the experience and didn't have the buyers, what was it about that number when he was just like 120? You was just like, oh man.
Once again, like I looked at this property, man, dude, look at this, man. I had this dude for 125.
Boy.
Dude just bought. Like I was talking to a dude at my job. We was gonna buy it. You know what I'm saying? You could have bought this, held on to it. Like dude bought it from me for 155. Dude,
and that's
he can sell that mother today, and he can probably make at least $100,000.
Slam on that thing.
Dude, but he can make $100,000. I made 30. He gonna make 100.
What are some indicators, right? Because this was at a time where you didn't just have the buyers and everything.
Yeah, I have maybe one buyer, but like I think the ARV at that time was like 240, something like that.
How'd you find the ARV?
I just looked at Zillow. I wasn't looking for no ARV. It's like I just saw Zillow. You know what I'm saying? And what I do is I don't just go straight off the Zestimate. I look at the Zestimate, I look at, like I'm looking at this house. I look at this house, I click off of it, and I really want to see, is it inside of a neighborhood? You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So if I see it's inside a neighborhood and it's like, okay, that property sold for $350, This property sold for 390. And I see, oh man, look at this area. There's nothing
Yeah,
in this area that's selling for less than 125. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, for sure.
So
Now.
it's like I know that, if I got the cheapest thing around, I got something. You know what I'm saying? It's like, dude, if you got the cheapest thing around, you may have you something. You know what I'm saying? That's
Yeah,
kind of what I did as a beginner, getting, early
yeah,
on. I looked around the area and say, and because that's what usually happen. Generally, either your area is in the 200, 300s, your area in the 300s, 400s, or your area in the 500s, 600s. I'm saying your little neighborhood. Like,
yeah,
there's rarely that a neighborhood is selling in the 200s and the 700s. You see what I'm saying? They ain't selling in the 200s and the 500s, unless the properties are way off. So you get similar properties, they kind of look alike. You know what I'm saying? It's in a neighborhood, usually in like these suburbs, houses are pretty much the same. Like you look at them, two garages. This one got a garage off to the side. Everybody got two garages. You know, some of them old, some of them new. So you don't compare the old houses to the new houses. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Okay, I do the eye test. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
My eye test tell me, okay, what house I'm looking at. Like my house was this house right here. So I'm pulling up my house. Okay. Let me click off this and let's see what house. Oh, this house right here look a lot like my house. Look at it.
Different color, but yeah,
Different color, but look, the porch the same. The
yeah.
frame is the same.
Even the slope in the yard is
Both
almost the
in
same.
the yard is the same. It's
Yeah,
like, okay, now let me look at the bedroom. Mine is a 3.2 1500, and then this right here is a 4.2 1800. So mine may sell for less,
yeah,
but it ain't gonna be 125,000.
yeah, yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I'm saying? You know
Exactly.
what I'm saying? But so you ain't got to do exact stuff. I'm just looking apples for apples. It's just like if you
Yeah,
shop for anything. If you shopping for cheeseburgers and you say, okay, the single costs $2. How much do your double cost? You don't expect them to say $6. You go from a single $2 to a double. You gonna be like, hold on, man. How you double
that
$6?
math not math. You
You gonna
certainly
be
don't expect them to be like, okay, the single is $1 and the double is $100,000.
exactly.
You be
And
like,
people be struggling on comps. I don't know how to comp profit. I don't know how to comp profit. How do you comp everything else in your life?
yeah, yeah, exactly. Literally,
It's like, man, you're gonna give me the double cheeseburger for $3. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
That how much is if I add another patty? How much is if I add another patty? $5 more. Huh? It's like if three chicken tenders is $5, how much is four chicken tenders? Should be 20. It's like that's
You
what
should
I'm
be able to do the math. Okay, so if 3 chicken tenders is $5, did that average out to about dollar some, almost $2 per chicken tender?
saying. Like, dude, you
Dollar
can
and some change.
do eyeball test, man. That's what I do. Eyeball test. All this calculations and getting people confused. I don't do none of that. Eyeball test. But like Cordero was saying earlier, that it's best to find the buyers first. They're gonna let you know whether it's a deal or not. Because
Yeah,
there's stuff that I thought was no deal that ended up being a deal. Why? Because the buyers said it's a deal. And who got the money?
it's
The
always
buyers got the money. They're gonna make the deal happen. It's like a buyer can make any deal happen. We got this dude who want what he want 280 for his property,
for the
and we ghetto man.
He
He
wanted
want
310, just so you know. I got him now.
Cordero got now 30K. He want 280 for his property, right? Our buyer right now is at 270. Now, let's say we email somebody today and the buyer say, hey, I can do 300. Here we go.
And so because that criteria and what they're looking to do and what they're looking at, and this is why I was talking a couple lives ago. You guys may notice I ran into a buyer who's just like, we'll buy at or even above market value because for what we're trying to do, we don't even need it to cash flow right away. We're just doing this for the long-term investment. And if the property is in a good location, we would rather pay for the trophy property in the good location at or above market value, because by the time we get ready to retire from what we do full time, then we'll get a return on it. It'll make more sense then. And these people, they're like doctors or something like that. That's where they make their money. You see what I'm saying?
Hey, I feel him on that, because even Ghetto Man.
It's in a good place. Like his property
is in a good place, dude. You buy that, you can buy that and hold on to it, man. Shoot, man, ain't no telling how much house be worth. Years.
Exactly. Even if the market dipped down, and then when it starts to come back, that property in that location, first of all, it won't dip down as much as other places because
it's not. It's not.
And then when it comes back, it's going. Y'all saw what happened the last upsurge. Things went crazy. And if you had something in any area, it was going crazy. But if you had something in a great location, this is why you heard the saying: location, location, location. So again, you get the right buyer. The buyer will determine if the deal is a deal, and every buyer is different. And so this is why we don't spend a lot of time. Another reason why we don't spend a lot of time calculating ARV, because everybody calculates their ARV and they calculate their rehab costs and what's valuable, important to them different. Every buyer does. So when you spend all that time, well, this is how you calculate the ARV, dog, you ain't doing nothing, because somebody may come along and say, well, actually, I think it's worth 20K more than what you think it's worth. And somebody might say 20K less. But when you use the Zillow estimate, the Zestimate, we know, everybody knows that's not dead on. It's not dead on. But it's using accurate data. And over the years, they've gotten better and better with giving you a range. But
you know, give you an idea. That's why I use it. It's like, I just need some clue.
It's a Zestimate. You know what I'm saying? It's a Zillow estimate. That's all it is. And if the Zillow estimate is 200,000 and your seller come in at 295, it's probably not a deal. You see what I'm saying? You don't need the exact ARV. If they give you a 295 or if they come in at 195, it's probably not a deal. If it's 200,000 as estimate and they're like, well, I want about 190, 195 for it, you're like, okay. And it needs about 30K in work. But if they come in and they're like, man, I just want the property off my hands, I give it to you for can you do 80,000? And the Zillow estimate is 200. You might got some.
You already know what time it is.
We're talking about some indicators that can clearly say, oh, this is a big dog. That can clearly say, without going too in depth, if you don't already have your list of buyers, what are some things that you can see that we might be talking, even if it's not 100, even if the Zestimate is 200,000 and they say, man, could you do 140? That's at least worth investigating. Well, what's the condition of your property? You know what I'm saying? Especially, when you're looking at, and now you add in looking at the comps from a different area for that same area, but from different streets in that same neighborhood and stuff. And you're getting a feel for what's going on in the neighborhood. And so you can kind of, this is the eyeball test, like Byron said. This is the common sense test. And if it passed the common sense test, you can go further. But if you really want to get all the deals and you don't want to let nothing go, then the more your buyers list, the stronger buyers you have, then the more likely you don't got to let nothing fall. As long as that seller is ready to sell and they got a reason to sell and you got the right buyers, then you've got what you're looking for. Then you can put a deal together. That's why I say let's put emphasis on finding the buyers first and letting the buyers experience their buying criteria, what they're asking for. Let that determine what's a good deal and what's not. But if you don't have a buyer just yet, or you don't have a group of buyers, then just use common sense. You know what I mean? Just use some basic understanding. What I think most people don't do is what they won't do, because I was guilty of it, I'll be honest, is what Byron just did, where he went to go look at the area and he pulled up the map on Zillow and he looked at the other property. He was like, this looks flipped. I never did that. I always skip that part because that's the boring part. That's the boring work. Do the boring work. Do that part where you kind of do a little bit of market analysis. Or maybe some of you guys got a friend, like a realtor friend, and you're like, hey, man, can you tell me what's the ARV on this deal? Or what would be a good after repair value for this deal. Some of you guys could benefit from that. If you just know, like you got a cousin or a brother or a sibling or something like that, utilize the resources you have available to you.
For sure.
But all I'm saying is get you some buyers. And we're talking about people trying to build it from nothing. If you don't got no uncles in the business and you don't got no dads who did it, and you got to make your own way out of absolutely nothing. Like I ain't had nobody in the business. My uncle, he showed me, but he wasn't knee deep off in the game. And Byron, I know you talk about it. Like you ain't have just like somebody you can go to.
Shoot,
so
nobody.
Go into the buyer, find you buyers, and then
I had nobody but buyers to go to.
But you had to go get the buyers on your own, though. You know what I mean?
I had to go get the buyers on my own.
And then they can also start pointing you in the right direction, telling you, man, nah, you don't want to do this. And then also you build a relationship with them. They could be like, man, you might need to start flipping some properties. Let me introduce you to my lender, and this is my contractor, and yada yada yada.
Yep. That's how it worked, man. Hey, your boy Gittleman, the lowest property for sale in his area is 345
on the MLS.
Yes. That's the lowest property for sale at 345.
Boy. He had 280.
It's only like the cheapest property that has sold in the last 90 days is 292. And then the next lowest is 340. And then it's 350. And then it's 365. It only go up from there, man. Cheaper you're gonna get is like 300. And then it goes to 340. Then it goes 350 quick.
Well, where's the limit? Where's the ceiling on this thing? How up does it go in that area?
Oh no, you don't want to know that, dude.
How up does it go?
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure it's at $1 million for sure.
Just so y'all know, I just want to add this without disclosing too much information.
Nah, don't disclose too much, man. Don't even disclose, man.
All I'm saying is some people got, golden toilets,
You are stupid, man. So Luke said everybody's set of a value and plan with the real estate is different. Yep, that's exactly what we're talking about, man. Different people gonna do different stuff. If one person say no, it doesn't mean it's a bad deal, just a bad deal for them. No doubt.
Exactly.
There's some things that do make it generally a good deal, and there's also things that make it generally a bad deal. Like generally speaking, this would be bad. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. Generally speaking, if it's in the hood with foundation issues and tenants that don't want to leave and is behind 8 months behind, it's just like.
But that's just generally speaking, though.
But
maybe in that hood, they're trying to build, the next Atlanta Congress Center. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you see what I'm saying? Like those are ordinary situations, which would make that deal good.
Or that person is aware
of that.
That's a self-aware buyer who's like, yeah, all of this is the problem, though. It's in the hood. It's got foundation and a tenant, but I'm going to give you a discount. And they give you good enough discount. And there are some buyers that won't, no matter what the discount, I'm still not going to touch it because these are obviously foundation, tenant, obviously not. But you got a Ben Mala individual. I know you. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Ben Mala, but he's like a tycoon in Miami in Florida. And he always talks about you got to make your start out of nothing. Go to the hood and go Section 8. That's how he got his foundation. He got started back in the day buying the properties in the hood in New York and built his business out of that. You get some of them individuals that's like, man, I can't afford no properties on a nice part of town, but I can give me about 10 of these in the hood, and I'm willing to put in the work, and I'm familiar with this area. I'm from the hood. So it boils down to finding the right person. And getting the right discount, because some things that will make a deal obviously not a deal are essentially problems that you could solve for that seller. That actually could make it more of a deal.
Yeah, it all boils down to the buyer, though. You know what I'm saying? It all boils down to the buyer. Like you said, you got to find the right person who's willing to buy in that area. You know what I'm saying? Well, even with my situation I brought up, it might be, some big builder that's planning on building something that wants to buy it. It's the buyer again. It's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like you have to understand who's buying. You know what I'm saying? Like the real estate guru is in Charlotte, always talking about, oh, this was the hood. Now they building this. You had to understand who's going to be buying in that area. You can look at like 10-year plans and see what your city is gonna do. Maybe you can look in 10 years and say, oh man, if they going this way and doing this, they finna have to buy this stuff right here. You see what I'm saying? Like I saw that in a town like around where I was at. It's like they finna build this road to come straight through here, but these are houses right here. Well, what are they about to do? They got to buy these houses. It's like they got no other choice. Like they
it's I forgot, what is it called? Where the government just like takes the property. What's it called?
Nah, I don't know.
No, it's a term. Somebody, if you know, but it's a term, but it's no, not martial law. I'm thinking, but so what it is, all real estate in the United States falls under this code. By the way, just in case you didn't know, you can own a property. It could be in your family for all generations, passed down generation to generation. If the government say, hey, we need to build an interstate here, you can't, they just take your property. You can't do nothing. They just take your property, but they pay you. And they pay you, they pay you handsomely. Usually they pay you at market value or a little bit above market value. They pay you, but you can't fight. I forgot what the term is. And I knew a person like that here in Nashville. Again, that's almost every city. They got a hood and then they begin to change that area. But there's a dude here in Nashville. I think his grandmama owned the property out East Nashville, and then he got it and he was living there. And they took that man, they just took it to build a road or a railroad or something like that. They just took that man property, but he got $250,000 off of it. And I didn't do that.
I got a property right now across from my college, and I'm like, man, I just can't wait till this college. They just went D1. I'm like, go ahead and expand. Go ahead and expand. Man, call me up. Hey, we want to buy Al. I've been waiting for this call, man. Yeah, dude. That I had two chances. I had a chance to buy that property or another property, and I read a book. What was that book called? The Perennial Seller.
I haven't read that yet, but we talked about it.
Yeah, the Perennial Seller, man. The Perennial Seller. Like, dude, some things are perennial sellers.
Yeah, and I think we need to start like a book club where we discuss, because that's another thing that we'll talk about definitely on the Against All Odds.
You know who wrote that book though?
Ryan Holiday.
Oh, you already
no, not the Perennial Seller. Who wrote that?
Ryan Holiday, man.
The Perennial Seller. He wrote that.
Yeah, man. Hey, the Perennial Seller, dude. At least I'm pretty sure he did. But the Perennial Seller, man, I just kept going back. Like I had two properties to choose, and I kept going back. Like the other property was better. It was like, man, this is the Perennial Seller. It's like, this is obviously the Perennial Seller. It's like across the street from the college, across the street from McDonald's. It's like it's just right there. It's like it's a perennial seller.
No, we're gonna have to break that one down, man. We're gonna have to break that one down. But
who wrote the book?
Huh?
Who wrote that book?
We'll have to look at it, man. We can check it out. But by the way, the term I was looking for is eminent domain.
Yeah, eminent domain. Yeah, I heard that. Yeah.
Domain. That's what it is. And when they could just, no matter what you pay for the property, they can come in and take that thing. But they will pay you for it.
Oh, you know they can pay you. They don't want their stuff on the news.
There have been instances, Ryan. Wow. Now, and another thing, just a small point, we'll talk more about it on the Against All Odds podcast, is the fact that how much reading and constantly educating yourself, but reading books. If Warren Buffett read 52 books a year, what value or importance do you think on reading books and constantly educating yourself is? And so in this business, so if we're talking about getting into this business, it's got to be a lot more than just how to identify a deal. We can't tell you, because we can't just tell you how to identify a deal without giving you everything that you're going to need to stay consistent. Or we can't just tell you that this is how you get many deals without giving you. I can't tell you how to get in this business without giving you the E-Myth Revisited. You need that book, though. I ain't going to, I would just be setting you up for failure if I didn't recommend that book. Or give you the 10X rule or something like that. I'll be setting you up for failure.
I guess on Against All Odds podcast, we'll have the book of the week.
The book of the week, please, sir. We're gonna have to do that.
Book of the week.
What did Anita say? I want to see what her comment was.
She said it's an elderly lady right now going through this. I think it's either South Carolina or North Carolina. I'm trying to take. I guess they're saying they're trying to take her property and Tyler Perry lawyer representation to keep it.
I think she's got a Medea movie. But are you saying they're going through eminent domain right now?
Probably. It seems like she's saying that Tyler Perry lawyer is representing her to try to keep it.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Hey, but
I think I know what.
I guarantee they ready to give her a whole bunch of money for that property. Like they don't want no problems, man. That's why people don't usually complain because they take that money.
Yeah, and ultimately it depends on what they're trying to do. Like if they're trying to build, because I know in Nashville they was building something called Bradley Parkway. It's a parkway where you can go through the city, but it's a thing that goes around the outskirts of the city that saves you. I mean, it saves you a lot of time, honestly, when the traffic gets bad. It gives you a second option and gets you access to other things. And so when they was building that, I think even the governor of the city had like his house was there and he had to get his property taken away, like eminent domain. He had to give up his property.
Dude, you know how much money he got for that?
How much money he got for that?
Oh man,
I'm sure he was just like, I think this
is exactly
very important to us getting this done. I think this property right here.
He probably said, "Hey, make sure we rent it right by my property."
Maybe so. There are instances where, and it's special cases where they just take your property without any pay, and I
don't know about that, man. I don't know.
No, I mean, I learned this from I took a real estate course, and they was explaining how there are certain cases, but it's very rare. But it's like if they was building a new.
Must be in a national emergency or something when they take your property.
Yeah, I think that martial law, and I think that it did have something to do with that. Something to do with like it had to be an emergency event type sort of situation. But for the most part, they're gonna pay you. And they're gonna pay you either market value or above market value.
They don't want you.
They're not gonna negotiate with you.
Nah, they don't want you complaining this thing.
They're not gonna nickel and dime you.
Nah, they don't want you complaining. They don't want them problems, man. Who want to be on the news because they're trying to take somebody's property? What city? Atlanta trying to take this lady property. It's like, nah, they don't want to be on the news for that, man. Don't have everybody
mad. The Carolina is on it.
Dude, they have everybody, man. That's what I'm saying. You got Tyler Perry lawyer on it.
Yeah.
It's like you don't want no problems, man.
Exactly. And I was going to ask Anita that too, because the case, they're not trying to take it from her that she's not going to get paid. She just saying some people just flat out say, Doc, I don't care about the money. This has got more sentimental value to me. Yeah. Which is why I'll be telling people the money isn't always everything. But this could be some sort of ploy where she's trying to get more money. I don't know. Maybe she's like, you know what I'm saying? They might be just like, okay, market value is $250. We'll give you $300. And she like, no. Yeah, she hit them with that.
You know what they do to them people? They build it all around them and make it horrible for them.
Like the movie Up.
They build so much crap around there. Like, dude, you gonna hate the fact that you live right there.
Nah, they just send a hitman. They just send one of the Navy SEALs. Nah, God forbid something crazy like that.
Your property tax is gonna be so high. It's like
you got no choice. You be like, dude, on Up, you the last person.
You live right here. Your property tax is sky high because you live right at this address.
Yeah.
That you wouldn't let us buy. They're gonna build everything all around. You see that little bitty house. Yeah, I seen that before riding down the road, seeing all these different stuff. You see that little bitty house because somebody didn't want to give it up.
Yeah,
it's crazy, man. But hey, it's out there, man. It's crazy.
Definitely happen, man, for sure.
But too, man, I think this is a good live, man. We talked about how you can identify a deal. We talked about how to find a deal, right? But man, if you got questions, you still got questions about that, make sure you drop it below, man. This was a question that somebody asked us, wanted to talk about how do you identify a good deal, and like we said, it all boils down to, okay, where do buyers like to buy at on those type of properties? You know what I'm saying? And the best way to know what they like to buy at on those type of properties is if you talk to the buyers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it's gonna be your best way.
Absolutely. I think that is basically what we're saying is there are other indicators, but that's the end all. That's the end all be all for I guess what will define or determine the deal. Because you could go through all those other indicators and do your numbers and do your research, and then you shop it out to buyers, and they all just like, nah, none of us want this because of elements that you might not have been able to see. Like, I'll never forget, it was one property I was just like, everything looks good. I can't see why. But then I reached out to some buyers, and they was like, no, what you can't see from doing the research is that there's a sewage plant real close to this area. And we just don't really want, a lot of people don't want, some people wouldn't have cared, but and you could keep finding the right buyer who doesn't care. But ultimately the bulk of the buyers are just like, there's the sewage plant, even though the numbers say it seemed to pencil, but it didn't. And so the end all is the buyers, because a property is, anything is worth what somebody will pay for at the end of the day. But yeah, good question. Byron, with your monthly course, can you give me more information on it and what you're providing? Well, I'll say this, and Byron can obviously add more to it. But again, a lot of what you're getting here is, just information, far as tactical information, is how to get to your first deal or how to do deals consistently is what we're talking about. We go a little bit more in depth as far as the systems, the systems and processes and things that we use. And then you get to ask questions not face to face, but you get to ask questions on the context of our calls. You get the benefit of the group. You get the benefit of the shared and acquired knowledge that we all have to add. And I think two things are mostly unique about the course. This is why I joined, was one, you get not just tactical stuff, you get the mindset. I think a lot of us really understand and know what it's like to be wherever you're at in the process, where you're trying to get your first deal or you got a deal or two and you're trying to get it consistent. We don't just discuss like, this is what it is and how you do it. We discuss probably what would stop, like what you need to kind of break down mentally to get to a place where you're like, okay, that makes sense. And I can go ahead, I can do this. Or you feel confidence in yourself to go ahead and do that. So that's one thing that I feel like is unique that we attack, is not just tactical information, but mindset wise, how to get to it. And then another thing is, I believe with this course, you do get, it depends on which course you're getting. But if you're in the where you get the weekly calls, you get buyers. You get access to buyers who are buying. Like, don't sleep on that. As much value and weight as we put on getting to the buyers and how important these buyers are, it's like you actually get access to some buyers. And that's just like a major key. That'll give you a leg up. Like, you get their contact information, you can reach out to them, build up a relationship directly with the buyers. You don't have to go hunt for them. You don't have to go through the long 3 year long journey that I had to go on trying to find the buyers, or trying to, you get some access to some heavy hitting buyers on there. So I think that's a big, but obviously Byron can add any other thing to it. But yeah, man, there's a couple, I just think ultimately this course, and I'm just being completely transparent. It ain't my course. I'm getting out a dollar for it. It's just like a course will work. You find the right person, the course will work if you work it. So ultimately, if you feel like the value you're getting out of this is solid, come check us out, man. I think you'll get a lot more of this. Anita, okay, I looked it up. Developers are trying to take care of Hilton Head, South Carolina, but been in her family just after the Civil War. Hilton, and man, though, if you're talking about Hilton, the hotel, those hotels, they got dollars to lobby and to kind of sway politicians to submit to their will at times. They look them up and how heavy hitting they are here in Nashville. But when the big dogs want to get something done, but it's just like, man, when something has sentimental value, it's like crazy. It would be crazy to just let it go. So you know, and shout out to Cass, man. Byron's resume speaks for itself. He's the man. And I think that was something like I had done several deals before I started working with Byron and joined his course and team or whatever. But when I saw what he was doing, I was just like, yeah, nah, dog, dude, the real deal. Because I had the experience. You might not have the experience. If you ain't done deals or done as many deals as I probably had done at that time, you wouldn't be able to see like what he's talking about is solid. That was just one thing I was just like, dog, I know what he's talking about is real deal. But when you get with him and realize kind of what, you know, where he came from and just kind of from absolute scratch, not a leg up. He ain't talking about building a business if you got an uncle who's in it. He's not talking about doing something if you got all the resources available. If you ain't got nothing, he was delivering pizzas to invest into a dialer and a text message platform to buy leads. He delivered like I'm talking about from scratch, and then turned that into a multi, you know, to a six-figure business and like $100,000 business and just like change his life. So I think again, what to Cass's point, that's something to believe in. So Byron's offering that for sure, for sure. So definitely, if you like what you hear here, check it out. Gentrification, yes. William, that's essentially so. And here's the thing. I think there's a connotation with gentrification that we associated with a certain type or a certain race of people coming into an area and buying that other race of people out. But essentially gentrification, the denotation, the definition is just improving an area. That's all it is. So if they're coming in and if the Hilton Head, they probably want to do something with the hotels or something to that effect. Yeah, a lot of times it's gentrification. And sometimes it's not even, well, ultimately, period. It is gentrification because if they're coming in and even if they're putting a new interstate or if they're putting a new street in there, all of that is improving the area. So that is some form of gentrification by the denotative sense. Man, I went to the archive and was watching some of Byron's old videos. Dog, go watch Byron's old videos when he back in that apartment and he got it set up in his daughter's bedroom. Man made $1 million from his daughter's bedroom, delivering pizzas, and then turned the delivering pizzas money into getting a deal and got some momentum. If you ever go Google or YouTube somebody starting a fire from scratch. I don't got no lighter. I don't got no matches. I don't got no electricity. I don't got no other things other than me and the resources that are around me, wood. And that's it. I watch how careful and painstaking a person has to get the ashes just right and just to feed it and feed it and feed it until that thing turns into just a little dust of smoke to a full-blown fire. Once the fire is going, you can just throw wood on it. But in the beginning, it's such a tedious process that you got to focus on. And you get to actually visually see Byron's videos, see him start a fire from scratch. That's one thing that I was like, dog. When I caught wind of it, I was like, yeah, for sure. So definitely go check that out, man. That one video where he closed like 75K in 1 month, bro. He's had several videos where he doing 100K months, 100K month. And that was when I caught, that was when I was in a place where I was like, man, I need to change I need to switch gears. And I start watching Byron's videos from his first video. And then I saw like, oh, he did that 30K deal. And I was like, let me check his page out. And it's like, oh, he doing 100K months. That's where I need to be. Period. So, and that was then. He's got way more experience now. He's got way more stuff to offer you now. So, the man, the myth, the legend himself.
You are stupid, man.
Byron Scott, dog.
Rolex up in the house, man. Happy wholesaling Rolex, man. What's going on?
Happy wholesaling, man.
But yeah, man. No, man, I had to answer a call real quick.
Yeah, man. What would you say if somebody asked, why should I, not necessarily why should I join your course, but what comes with it and what are some things you're providing?
Oh, what comes with it? Basically everything, man. You know what I'm saying? It's like you basically gonna learn everything that I got. I mean, like I said, man, we've been on here for about an hour. Ain't nobody talking about selling you no course. It's like, dude, I'm not here to sell you a course. It's like, you know what I'm saying? We up here talking about what's going on, but I just like, if you do sign up, then I'm going to share everything. I'm going to walk you through the whole thing. You know what I'm saying? We talk about finding buyers. It's like, We ask you where you want to find them at. We show you. We find them with you. You know what I'm saying? Basically, hold your hand and walk you through this process. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we do. Like for real. Like
And another point I want to mention, I kind of touched on this, but we always talk about when a lot of people in this game is talking about business, but you got to find somebody. Another thing that kind of drew me, you got to find somebody who speak your language that you wouldn't mind listening to. And you feel like they talking and they explaining all of this because you might like what we talking about, but then you get to like listen to a dude like maybe Max Maxwell. He, everything he say, he try to go over your head with it. Well, our KPIs and our XYZs are actually
man,
right.
Maxwell gonna have you feeling good, man. It's gonna feel good.
I mean, he talk mindset, but when he's talking strategically about the business, I didn't resonate with Max Maxwell. But when I heard Byron talking about it, he was just like, as soon as I heard Byron say prop screen, I was like, this the dude. I was like, so man, we speak your language too. You can get a lot of courses. We're not pushing a course on you, or he's not pushing a course on you. You can get a lot of courses at work. But if you feel like we speak your language, then it's a lot more of this. Because if you get you get Keith on off in the group.
Keith on in there, man.
Rolex a blessing for this present.
If I had something like this when I first stepped up, dude, I just wish I had something like this when I first stepped up in this thing, man. You talking about making some money? Oh my God.
Yeah, I just wish you'd have started this program before the interest rates went up. Back when it was still good, and I would have been like,
oh man.
It's good now, but
Cordero would have had a different background right now, man.
I had a waterfall in the back where got my name out in the waterfall. I'm trying to tell you.
Oh man, shoot, yeah, man. I joined Diddy's group, man. Yeah, he legit, man. Like, man, it got some straight heat up in there for sure. But like I would say, like it's way more for like people who've already done deals. Like I see people who's beginners up in there, and it's like they able to help beginners, but they way better at helping people who already got something going to skyrocket even more. It's like what I'm giving you is like I'm walking you through like the very beginning, how it's easiest to do it, and I'm handing you over like contacts because at the beginning you really need some contacts, man, and you need one solid direction to go into with contacts and get your first deal up under you and then get going. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, I mean, but also with Diddy, of course, you got to pay like $5,000 up front, and then you pay the $5,000, and then you pay $500 every month. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? So, but like I said, I'm just charging people $100 just to be charging you something, just to keep the people out that ain't really talking about nothing. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's just to keep the people out who really ain't talking about nothing. But it's people who's in Diddy's course, they ain't doing no deal. Like they ain't done no deal. You know what I'm saying? But that's just the thing, man. It doesn't matter how much you pay. It's what you do. And that's why we started the Against All Odds podcast, man, because it's like we're not just interested in just real estate. It's like, dude, you need to get better at doing, at taking action, at executing. You know what I'm saying? So we on our own journeys to execute, and we want to help other people execute too. That's my whole thing. It's like I'm not here to charge you $5,000 to do something. It's like, dude, can we get you to execute though? That's the biggest question. You know what I'm saying? That's just like, oh man, should I join your course? It's like, will you execute or not? Will you take action or will you not? It's like there's 10 people listening to this. One person that jump in there, that's the one person got a shot at actually getting started. One person that get the, because you way closer if you get up in there. Because it's like you immediately gonna get contact. You immediately gonna get buyers. First thing you're gonna get buyers. You got contacts. You see what I'm saying? That's instant. You got somebody who's gonna walk you straight through the whole process. Okay, this is exactly what I do.
Dog, I was saying it took me literal years to get that. Literal years. And I'm just saying, If you're trying to do it from scratch and like you don't got nobody who's talking about finding the buyers and all of this and that, no, it's gonna be sick. But if you got somebody gonna hold your hand through that, get out of here, bro.
Yeah, for sure, man. I did switch it over from smarter contact to launch control. But I would say right now, man, you know, you looking to get hooked up with something. I don't know, man. Whatever platform you're on right now, I would stay put. You know what I'm saying? I would stay put if you're on a platform right now.
Yeah, man. Jumping to smarter contact was just like strategically for the possibility to do more because they even allow it. But ultimately, we always show love to launch control, man.
Yeah,
I think
launch control. Yeah, sure. Like if
I
I
just
was just if I was just getting started, launch control is a different thing. Because if you go to smarter contact, ain't no the lowest plan you need to get is $7.99. Like there's no need to going lower. It's $7.99. If you can't pay $7.99 every month, there's no need to go to smarter contact. No need. No need to go to smarter contact. You ain't ready to pay $7.99 every month. But yeah, man. But shoot, man, we've been on hour and 6, hour and 7. Let's go, man. But appreciate y'all coming through, man. And I mean, asking about the course. I appreciate that, man. Come join us, man. We meet every Sunday, like clockwork. We sit here and talk. You can talk to me, small group, face to face. And man, I don't hold nothing back. Like I don't have nothing extra. It's not a well, we're gonna withhold this information unless you pay whatever. It's like I'm gonna share with you whatever it is that you want shared. It's just the way it is, man. But shoot, man, appreciate y'all coming through, man. A bunch of jokes came through today, man. Jay Sword came through.
Vince, shout out to Vince.
What's up, man? Vince came through for sure. Ali came through. Rolex came through. Man, Johnson came through, man.
Billy Johnson.
Man, my guy Cass, man. Cass always coming through. Mate, you know she up in the background somewhere coming through. Anita always tapping in like always. Luke, what's up, Luke, man? Cliff came through, man. What's going on, man? Look at all the people who came through, man. Appreciate y'all coming through. I know I probably sent some of y'all an email like 3 times trying to get my link straightened out, man. But yeah, man, it's crazy.
Filomeno, shout out to Filomeno.
What up, man? So appreciate the info, Cordero. You know, hey, man, I'm telling you, man, y'all, hey, people be sleeping on Cordero. Cordero be sleeping on himself sometime, man.
Cordero don't get enough sleep. That's the real.
He be coming with it though.
Man, I'm just telling y'all, I've been trying this for a while, and I'm just telling y'all what I know. I would just, bro. You ever run into a wall over and over and over again and make the same mistake over and over and over again?
Yeah.
Like, if God ever allowed me to figure this thing out, I'm gonna guarantee that nobody else just got to go through that again. Just please not. You know what I mean? So for sure, man. But Byron's camera gave up on us.
But shoot, it did pretty good, man. Almost at 44% when we started. But man, I appreciate y'all. Peace out. Till tomorrow. We're going to do a deep dive, man. Peace out.
Oh yeah.